Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another how-to session. I'm actually on a different set today. It is a festival themed set today, so I thought it'd be fun. Today is going to be fun because we are going to learn not only how to activate our core, but we're going to do it in standing, quadruped, and down on the floor in a typical crunch position. And we're gonna go over exactly what the core is, why it's so important, and how you're going to activate it because it is that important for everything that we do. So if you're doing this live, hello. I'm so excited for you guys to come in, especially if you're doing it live because you can ask questions. So hi Lori, hi A. Logan, hi Jama, and hi Sharon. So first, I just want to kind of cover what the core is and then kind of what the core is not. And then we're going to stand up and we're going to go through each position and kind of feel out how to tighten up your core. And then at the end, for the how-to sessions, it's always a little bit of education. And then we're going to move our body. So we're going to get a little core work in as well. So the core is your natural weight belt. It is not just your abs. It wraps all the way around. It really supports your body. And it really, when you think about a weight belt that wraps all the way around, that is your weight belt. It pulls in. It is about bracing, drawing in. And what we need to do is activate it. So what the core is not about smashing your low back into the ground. It's not about allowing the rib cage to flare. It's really about pulling in, connecting your mind to your muscle, and being able to draw everything in and keep a nice, strong, stable, supportive base, especially to support that low back. So any movement that you do, whether it's strength training, even in cardio and HIIT and getting up and even just moving around in your space, your house, your office, activating your core is super important. So I also, before we begin, want to just kind of explain that thinking about activating your core is not just saved for when you're exercising. Try, and I'm going to challenge us all right now, try throughout your entire day to activate your core in all different positions. Even driving your car, try to sit, draw in. So the thing that we're going to think about is brace, draw in, and activate. I will take questions, of course, along the way, but go ahead and stand up with me if you're not already up. I'm sure you're already up. But let's talk about how to do that in a standing position. So a lot of times you guys hear me talk about anatomical position, you want to find that lightness, and anytime you're in a lifting position, you really do want to make sure that you have a strong base. And so a lot of it starts with, I want you to just kind of get into that great anatomical position, rocking back and forth with your feet, find that neutral stance, and then that's the lightness that you should feel. And then we're going to travel up. So think about your hips. A lot of times deviations in our different joints and the way we stand, the way we sit, is also not going to put us in the most optimal position for activating our core. So find that hip positioning where you're not too tucked under, you're not arching your back because that's actually gonna not allow you to draw in quite as much. And I will say, if you tend to have a little bit of an anterior tilt, working on drawing in the core, the TBA, when you hear me say TBA, that's the transverse abdominis, but that will actually help you get into better alignment even with your hips. So think about also finding that neutral hip alignment position. You can take your legs a little bit wider. And then going all the way up, you want to keep your rib cage in. So you don't want to arch your back, let the rib cage flare. Those are two things you're always going to want to think about. And then find a lightness in your shoulders, roll the shoulders back. And then you hear me say it all the time, tuck your chin. So here's your great anatomical position. Now I want you to think about bracing through the very base of your core and actually activate a little bit by touching. And then think about drawing in. So when you think about putting on a really tight pair of jeans, that's the best reference I can think about. You want to think about zipping up. So let's go from the base all the way up, and you're going to zip up through your core, through that TBA. So you want to draw in and up. Belly button's coming in, up. And then how do you activate it in a standing position? Well, we're going to go ahead and just lift and do a little bit of knee lifts, nice and slow. But I want you to think about using your TBA to activate and pull that knee up. So even a standing knee lift can become a core activation move. Do it slow. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, come on, we're way more advanced than this. I'm telling you, sometimes you want to go back to the basics to really, truly make sure and ensure that you're able to activate and really draw in and use the TVA. When I'm not in the best anatomical position and I'm not squeezing my core, I could be arching my back, I could be flaring my rib cage, crunching my low back. My knees are still coming up, but I'm not doing the work with the muscles that I really truly want to activate. So standing knee lifts, great way to activate. You could even grab a weight and walk around your space and activate on each side. That's another way. Okay, I'm going to spend most of the time on the floor. I just wanted to show you that even when you're walking through your everyday life, activating your core, very important. So the visual you're going to think about is zipping up a really tight pair of jeans, but once it's cinched in, zipped up, boom, you're strong. You move around your space. Okay, we're going to come down to the ground next, and we're going to go in a quadruped position. So quadruped just means knees under hips. And I want to do the same thing. This is a little bit more challenging than how we're going to finish, where we're going to finish in a supine position. But let's talk about drawing in the same way. So find that anatomical position. Neutral in the hips. My hips are going back. Think about pulling in through the rib cage. So no rib flare. Tuck your chin. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Okay, the 3 points you're always going to think about are brace, draw in, so pull in and up. Think about that same cinch, that same zipper that we just used in the standing position. Good. And then we will be activating it as we go through different core moves. But let's do a couple just right here. So extend one leg, one arm. There's a great activator. Make sure you're stabilizing. So we're not going to move really quickly. We're just going to hold. Switch. Activate. And again, we're going to go through a series of exercises, but I'm just giving you a couple right here. Great way to make sure you have that activation. You could even just do the legs if the arm is a little bit too much. In fact, let's scale back. Let's just hit the legs. Feel that extension. And if you want to use the power of touch, I'm telling you, it's a great way to bring attention to the area that you want to be tightening up. Okay, another activation that I love is come into a hover. So tuck the toes under, come up and hold. A little bit more advanced, but can you feel the tightness? Can you feel the activation? And then you want to drop it down. So also, you're probably going to reduce your reps a little bit when you are working through true core activation, because you want to be extremely mindful. Once you feel anything go anywhere else, you take a little bit of a break, because the whole point is just use the core. Okay, so flipping around now, let's activate in a supine position, and then we're going to run through all the exercises top to bottom. So let's talk about this same concept. And what I started off this session by saying is, what is activation not? Core activation is not just smashing your low back into the ground. And I'm just going to preface, I know we've heard that before for years. It was said with good intention, because the thought was that it would allow individuals to draw their belly button in and tighten up their core. However, what I see a lot is just smashing your low back in is not really tightening up the core. Actually, it can sometimes cause an individual to just expand, where the true thought behind it is drawing in. So brace, draw in, activate. Think about that same nice posture, even in this supine laying down position, and draw in and up. Now you also want to try to relax the hip flexors. So if you want to take your legs out just even a little bit more, you want to relax your hip flexors and activate through your TVA. So draw in. Good. Now, one of my favorite ways to initially activate is doing alternating leg lifts. So what do you notice? In all three positions, a great activator is to brace, draw in, and knee lift. So whether we're standing and lifting our knees, we're in the quadruped and extending our leg out, or just lifting up and holding that static bear crawl position, or in a supine position, taking it up and alternating tabletop. You should feel that. And if you are wanting to really focus on core work, before any strength training, before any activity, I would say, and even just maybe every morning, spend some time activating your core. Breathe through each movement. Make sure that there's not any rib flare. Make sure that you're going through all those checkpoints and you have a really great, strong anatomical position. All right, go ahead and bring those knees in and rock up. So, if you're doing this live, definitely drop questions if you have any questions about those positions. We have a full second half of this class today where we're going to go through exercises and we're going to actually get a little core workout in. And if you're doing this on replay, please drop questions below. It really is a lot of thought and the mind-muscle connection. So it truly deserves an entire session, which we're doing today, to just dedicate to bringing awareness. And then now we're going to work on how to do that in a bunch of different positions. So let's go back to the top and we're going to do some standing knee lifts. So you could even use this entire series today as a way to activate and do this every single morning. And we got 9 minutes. So it could be an under 10-minute core activation series. All right, so we're going to take a minute on each. We'll change positions in those last 15 seconds, but I want to do single knee lift. So come with me now, find that position, and we're going to lift one leg at a time. And we're activating. So the other thing, and the reason I'm having us do, I'm going to come in a little closer, the reason I'm having us do one leg is because I also want to work a little bit on your balance, so trying not to move around. So it's a little bit of hip stability too. I want you to breathe steadily through all of these exercises. Switch your legs. Good, taking it up and down. Very nice job. Try not to hip shift. You can be going at different speeds, but we're activating. Using that TVA, using our core, standing tall, no rib flare. Tuck your chin. Yes. Takes a lot of thought. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And now come down with me. And we're going to do one of my favorites. We're going to do a hip bridge. So you're going to push those hips up towards the ceiling, drawing in and activating the core. So draw up, take your time. This is another great way. It also warms up the glutes, which is also important. Keep driving up. Now think about your hips going all the way up, your knees going away from your body, and you don't have to be down on the floor too long. Once you hit it, bump right back up. Good. Exhale. Keep going. Now as we go through all of these, you're going to hold all these for about a minute. And I'm watching the clock. Give me about 10 more seconds. And then what we're going to do next is hold that bridge at the top and lift a single leg out. Good. So finish your last double. And here's a little bit of a progression. So you're going to come up, and then you're going to extend in and down and alternate your sides. Hold, brace, extend the leg in and down the whole time. Core activation. And if that's a little bit too much, you can also hold that hip bridge. You can just give me a little bit of a knee push out. Very nice. When you're ready, give me a little extension. It doesn't have to be big, but what does have to occur is it's all activated using your core. Good. Up. Feel that movement. So as I'm lifting one leg, the opposite side is stabilizing. Good. Keep going, team. Focusing intently on every single rep, taking breaks as needed. Remember, we want everything to be activated and driven by the core. Okay, we're going to now go into that quadruped position again. Often I call this a bear crawl. And we're going to try to hold for 45 seconds. Are you ready? Set. And here we go. A little isometric hold here. So I want you to draw in. And you want to be in a great 90-90 position. So you want to slide those legs out a little bit. Tuck your chin. Good. No rib flare. Pull your abs in tight. Make sure you have great angles. So knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Hold. So if the 45 seconds is a little bit challenging, you've got 20 more seconds left of it, take your time, increase it slowly and incrementally, and then you're gonna build up, kind of like our plank, right? And we're gonna do some side planks, speaking of. Good, 5 more seconds. Very nice job. Okay, go ahead and sink down. Give me a little stretch. And we're gonna come into a side plank position. So we all know center planks. I'd like us to work on that bear crawl hover. And then on the side plank, let's draw one knee down and go ahead and pop up. We're gonna hold 45 seconds on each side. Now this is also extremely important for activating the entire core, because our core is not just the rectus abdominis, it's everything. So how much more do you feel in your core on this side plank right now after all the series that we've already done? You should definitely feel like you're able to connect even more. And I'm having us on a knee position because truly, when you're thinking about it, this is challenging. So often when you just pop up into your side plank with your legs straight, you might not have the strength and stability quite yet. Okay, go ahead and slowly drop. Take a couple seconds to switch sides. We're gonna do 45 seconds on the other lead. So my knee is underneath, my hips are stacked, my shoulders are stacked. Good, 3, 2, 1, and let's pop up. So holding on the other side. And really the angles are everything. Everything is so important. The more you slow it down and practice even in these positions, then when you get into your workouts, you have a muscle memory. Your body knows where it's gonna go, and it can help activate. Now notice differences in each side too. So just sharing my experience today, the first side we were on, it was a little bit easier for me to feel it and activate in this position. So it just means I need to pay a little bit more attention on activating through the opposite side. But it will get there. You just wanna be really mindful. I've said in our workouts before, exercise is no longer mindless. All right, go ahead and slowly lower it down. Okay, we're gonna go into that supine position again, and we're gonna do some leg drops. So go ahead and come facing upwards. This is what I consider, and I always call supine positions, very anatomical way to explain it. So activate, I want you to lift both legs same time. Find that really great positioning that we have been in through this entire session so far today. Good, go ahead and reach arms overhead. Now you can stay with the arms overhead, and we're gonna do some single leg drops. So coming down, go really slowly. Thinking about 3 points, brace, draw in, activate. So this is gonna be how we're gonna finish today's session. We're gonna be showing some progressions in this move. So right here, this is gonna be number 1. Keep going. You're dropping down, and now we're gonna start to add the next layer. If you feel like it's too much, then you stick with the one before, but just go ahead and extend an opposite arm. And we're gonna take a minute to just really feel that out. Now, as I extend my arm, that's where the rib cage comes into play. You don't want to go, so if I start to feel my rib cage flare here, that's my end range. Then I come back and I work through it. Eventually, the goal being to be able to reach all the way out with my arm and my leg, not feeling any movement in my rib cage, feeling all the stability and all of the initiation coming from my core, nothing in my low back. Keep going, team. 10 more seconds here. And then I'm going to show you another progression. 3, 2, 1. Okay, final minute. You can take a little bit of a breather. Take a peek. We're going to lift our upper body. Now you can go with single, or you can start to work on a double. So take these last couple seconds of class. All we're adding is a little bit of a lift up with our upper body, so we're activating a little bit more. Bring your knees up. Good, and then you're either going to go single, and actually I like to have an opposite counterbalance with the arms, or try some double. This double movement is extremely challenging. That's going to be where you want to eventually be at. And again, I would suggest doing all these for about a minute, which allows you to get anywhere from 15 to 20 reps each. Finish out a couple more right now. 3, 2, 1, and then bring your knees into your chest and drop one leg out and just give me a little bit of a spine roll to one side, stretching out through the low back. And then gently switch to the other side. Should feel good, little rotation. Excellent job. Go ahead and draw those knees in, rock on up. All right, so this is the first session that we have done for core-specific activation. I'm gonna put all those exercises that we did in the show notes so you can come back and check in. My number one thing is that I wanna leave us on is 3 points, and they're standing, quadruped, and on the floor. You wanna think about bracing, drawing in, so zipping up, and activating. Those are the 3 points that you always wanna be aware of in any position. And then you have this series of exercises that you can do. Also, the challenge I'll leave us with again is activating your core throughout your entire day, not just when we exercise. Yes, 100% when we exercise, but try to start thinking about activating your core, your true core, through every part of your day. This series would be something that I would suggest you do daily, maybe put it into your morning routine or definitely before you exercise, but it's a great way to really start to create a strong base. I would love to do it every time. I would love if you did it every time right before we even did our workouts on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So I'm glad that we have this session now. Make sure you save it. And exciting news, next week kicks off our March protocols for our brand new strength. So make sure to look out for that. And if you have questions in the meantime, drop them in the comments below. I truly, truly enjoy helping us all just elevate our fitness. And today's session is one that I've been so excited to bring. So save it, do it, ask questions, and I will see you guys next week, 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Make it a great day.